Ho, ho, ho. Merry Christmas. Well, it was for some teams this weekend, but yeah, some teams had some bad weekends, some like Indianapolis, New England, Tampa Bay. Yes, the GOAT.
Cowboys.
The GOAT. I wasn't going to say that. Eric Sawyer, you're out there listening. If you're out there listening, yeah, your boys had a rough week. Um, Welcome to the Final Score, guys. It is the 20th of December, or as Matthew would say, it's the 23rd of December. He thinks it's 2 days before Christmas. But
I don't blame me. It's crazy. I can't see the calendar.
oh, come on now. I told you as time goes by, the older you get, the harder it's going to be to keep up with what date it is, especially at a month like this where you're so busy doing everything else. But with me, you can hear him back there talking, is Matthew Basemore. What's up, bud?
What's going on, Stevie?
Same old, bud. It's just a different day.
I
So
heard that, and you said older you get, the faster things go. I'm 22. I'm scared to see 23.
we'll just wait till you get to 49, bud. Yeah, that's where I'm at now. I'm twice
Wow.
as old as you are.
Yeah, I know. Can't believe dirt can last that long.
Oh, here we go. Here we go. It's
Yeah.
Christmas. It's Christmas, and you're going to throw shade at me. It's Christmas week. We will throw shade. It's our Christmas episode.
Well, Merry
But
Christmas to you and your family, Stevie.
yeah, same to you, bud. Same to you. Uh, so yeah, we had it was an interesting week in the NFL. I mean, we're in the middle of let's see, we're in the middle of college football bowl season. The 30 million bowls that everybody, it seems like every college football team gets to have already started. I think they started
Yeah.
Monday. Um, yeah, I mean, it's just the bowl thing. I used to I used to love bowl season, but now it's got to where it's so many of them that just
Yeah.
oh, it's one on you know ECU. I know plays a week from today. They play Coastal Carolina in the Birmingham Bowl. So I'll be paying attention to that. But other than I know Carolina plays Oregon, but you know it's just so many of them. They need to cut. I
It
really
is.
think they need to cut back on it.
I can't keep up with it. And I know they have like 3 or 4 games at like one time, and then in the same stadium, just game after game.
Yeah, I
It's
did.
confusing.
It's been a couple of weeks since we've been on. I did watch the North Carolina high school football championship game. The Tarboro, the 1A game. Tarboro lost to Mount Airy, and Tarboro. That's big because Tarboro's got pretty much the
Yeah.
dynasty when it comes to high school football in 1A. They were like, and they got beat. It was worse than the score said because I mean Tarboro ran the ball, which is, I guess that's what a lot of teams from the East, the East versus West, uh, Mount Airy threw the ball more than Tarboro did. And I think they were able to do something with that. Tarboro just couldn't get it going. But we'll see. They'll probably be back next year.
Yeah.
So,
Well, Stevie, real quick, tell them what I
yeah,
did to you. Tell them what I did to you while you were working.
he did what he said he was going to do. And
Yep.
Matthew, see, I'm at my job, working hard, trying to work hard, trying to
Working
get my
hard.
job done, and then these aggravating voice comes over the intercom. What'd you say?
Stevie Fly, Stevie Fly. It must suck to be a Pittsburgh fan. and
Well, it's not.
as soon as I turned the quarter, what'd you say, boy?
It's not as good this year as it has been in years past. I'll put it that way. But we're doing better than I thought we would. We beat Carolina. Carolina was on a hot streak, beating Seattle at Seattle, and Nathan Trevino. I got a message for you if you're watching out there, if you're listening out there. How about them Steelers? How about them Panthers? That's all I got to say to that. But
And they were
all
favored to
I
win like 6 points.
yeah, they were. Trubisky came through. Uh, I didn't get to see it. I was working, but a friend of mine, he's a Panthers fan. He said it was one of the most boring games he's ever tried to watch. So I was like, well, I've got a DVR. I'll watch over it. But looks like Pickett, Kenny Pickett, who was out with a concussion from the game before, from the Ravens game, which don't get me started on the Ravens. How we lost to them, I don't know. But he looks like he's going to be back for this week. They're going to have – it's going to be this – I don't know how many people are going to want to watch this game. You might want to keep opening presents. Primetime Christmas Eve, Steelers and Raiders. So, I don't know, unless you're a Steelers or a Raiders fan, you might not be tuning in to much football on Saturday night. So let's look. And this time of year, we know, they do the Saturday games. They're pretty much doing a full schedule, almost a full schedule on Saturday. I think it's going to be.
Where the Giants play?
Hold on, I'm looking right now, bud. The Giants are playing on Saturday.
Against Minnesota.
At Minnesota at 1:00. So while I'm working hard again, Matthew's gonna be sitting at home eating Cheetos, watching the Giants game. So let's see. So the Saturday games, and then you've got one, of course, the Thursday night game. And we're going to talk about all those. We'll go over our picks in just a few minutes. But let's get right into it last week. Saturday, the leadoff game, the Indianapolis Colts and the Minnesota Vikings. Now, a bet man is going to bet on the Vikings, right? So all of a sudden, I'm at work, and I'm getting some feedback. Sorry, guys. I'm at work and I'm looking, I get pretty much every NFL game that's going on. I get a score up there. If a score comes up there, it comes on my phone. And I hadn't looked at my phone, and I was like, holy mess. Look at it. Geez, what in the heck? Next thing you know, it's 33-0. Colts over the Vikings at halftime. And I would say this. Look, this is the first thing I thought of when I saw it. Matt Ryan's playing quarterback for the Colts. And everybody remembers, I know you do, Matthew, Matt Ryan in the Super Bowl a few years back, Falcons against the Patriots, up 28-3 at the half. And we all know what happened in that game. Patriots come back and win in overtime. So I was like, to be sure, this wouldn't happen again. But just like Matthew and me were talking a little bit before we came on there, Matthew was talking about, here's a block punt. Here's another score. And you got, what were you going to say, Matthew?
I was just agreeing with you. Yeah, I mean, the block punt to the touchdown and then get the ball back and then overturn it again. And I've never seen nothing like that before. Not from the Vikings.
Yeah, I mean, it was it was so familiar. I know Matthew isn't old enough to remember, but back in, I think it was like 92, AFC AFC first round of playoffs, the Bills and the Houston Oilers, who went on to become the Tennessee Titans. And the Oilers just dominated the first half. Warren Moon, Haywood Jeffries, Ernest Givens, they were just killing Buffalo in the first half. And I believe Jim Kelly got hurt. And Frank Reich, yes, that Frank Reich, who was the coach of the Indianapolis Colts, led the comeback. And they came back, and until this past weekend, it was the biggest comeback in NFL history. They came back and won, but now Matt Ryan, he's got to be like, what did I do to deserve this? And I know a lot of people out there. There were some people that posted, no NFL team is going to want to touch Matt Ryan again. And then some people were like, well, it's not his fault that defense couldn't stop him scoring. Yeah, but he could have kept his offense on the field and scored. But I do blame that more on the coaching than I do the quarterback. Yeah. Jeff Saturday, of course, you all know, interim coach with only, high school coaching experience. And, I think he pretty much sealed the deal. Maybe, just maybe, when it was 33-0 at halftime, he had a good chance to get that full-time job. But after what happened, yeah, I think he might be the first interim coach to get fired before they find another coach. They might have to find another interim coach. Just some of the play calling, there was one drive where the Colts went for it on 4th and 1, quarterback sneak. And Matt Ryan, I like what somebody said. They couldn't tell if he was a scarecrow with a tin man, the way he looks. And he, oh Lord, we already got a comment up here, Matthew. I'm gonna save it for after I finish this. He goes for it on 4th and 1, and it's fine that you go for it. You sneak your quarterback, but when your quarterback, I think, and I'm not an NFL quarterback. I've never been a quarterback in high school, maybe in the backyard. But going for it on 4th and 1, when you run a sneak, are you supposed to stick the ball out or hold it on your hip? Where would you think you'd want the ball at?
I would want it out so I can make sure I get that ball across first.
Exactly. And Matt Ryan had it on his hip. I mean, that was one of the reasons why they didn't get that. But there was a lot of blame to go around for that whole disaster for the Colts. And now Colts got some even worse news, which, their season's probably done. Jonathan Taylor ruled out for the rest of the year, their Pro Bowl running back from last year and MVP candidate from last year. As a matter of fact, he's out for the rest of the year with a high ankle sprain. So it just doesn't get good for. And you think, I think that might be it for Matt Ryan. He's had his time, and I think this might be it for Matt Ryan. It might be time to call it a day, right off into sunset.
And you know what? When it was 33-0, I was super happy for Matt Ryan. I like Matt Ryan. His name is Matt.
Oh,
pretty cool guy.
Matty Ice, yeah.
Matty Ice.
Wow.
That's a cool name.
Yeah, I hadn't thought about that, but
just had no luck,
I just
man.
become less of a fan.
Yeah, me too. Because I mean, you keep messing up this big. It's like ain't no Andrew Luck in you.
Yeah, where is Andrew? You ever wonder where Andrew Luck is now?
I have actually. I heard something a couple weeks ago. This is too unirrelevant to even bring it up because I don't remember what they said. But I don't know if he's doing much of nothing.
I don't think he is. I think he's enjoying life.
Yeah. And go for it.
All right. Steve Logan's favorite pupil of all time. Okay. Robert Matthews, good friend of mine. Love you to death, buddy. His quote here, this was going to be one of our stories that we're going to talk about. Giants beat the Commanders. It ends up 20-12. Now, the Commanders drive down the field, and it's near the end of the game. They're inside the 10-yard line. Terry McLaurin splits out. And and just like me and Matthew were talking about, and don't get me wrong when I say this stuff, and me and Matthew talked about this too. Matthew's a Giants fan, and Matthew's been on both sides of this, so that's why we're talking about this. There's bad calls against you. There's bad calls that go for your way, but I've never seen one. And people keep talking about the pass interference was horrible. I mean, I'm not lying. I put a meme up earlier this week. It looked I reposted it. Somebody had put it up there that the Titanic, when the guy, what's his name, Jack has got Rose grabbed her around the waist up there at the bow of the ship, and he said and she's holding her hands out, and I was like, yeah, it kind of looks like, and it's got a picture of the Giants cornerback on Samuel with his hands underneath. He's got his hands locked underneath him.
Yeah,
that was bad, but this one confused me. And Robert, you have to tell me the third occasion you're talking about because he's saying they got his comment was, is the NFL hell bent on ruining the Commanders because of Daniel Snyder, which brings up a good point. They got screwed on 3 different occasions Sunday night, and yeah, they did. But twice in that last drive, yeah, the pick play. Yeah, I forgot about that, Robert. Thank you for reminding me. But that, I don't know. The one that bothered me more than anything was when McLaurin split out. And, as a football coach, you always tell, of course, you don't have to tell the NFL guys, but you always tell you guys at my level, when you split out, you check. If you're on the line, you make sure you check with that referee and he's got you on the line. And they always do. That's just, the way things go. That referee, when McLaurin gets out, he checks with the referee, and then McLaurin moves up. And I'm assuming, and they say don't assume anything because that makes an ass out of you and me. But that the referee told him to move up. But as soon as he did, it was like that referee was already digging in his pocket. Like, oh, yeah, I've got you now. If you go back and watch it, he's already got his hand in his pocket going for that flag. Now, if, most of the time, and I've heard it on the sidelines, that referees will tell you move up. If you move up too far, they'll tell you, okay, take a step back. And then they'll say, you're good. I have heard people say that McLaurin was okay until another guy went in motion. I don't know. I listened to several podcasts this week, and a lot of them were talking. One of them, Mike Fiaro from Pro Football Talk, was really, really upset about it. And he wasn't upset that the Commanders lost. He was just upset that he had never seen a referee do that before. And what bothered him about it was just like Robert said, is this something that the NFL doesn't want Daniel Snyder in the playoffs? The Commanders in the playoffs because of Daniel Snyder. He brings up a good point. I hadn't thought about it. Does the NFL, do you think there's a possibility, Matthew, that the NFL could be like, okay, we don't want Snyder in the playoffs? Because there he is, and, I know there's a lot going on with him. There's probably going to be something coming down. Maybe and a lot of Washington fans are hoping that he'll be out as the owner before long. But do you think there's a possibility that they could be doing this?
Of course. Yeah, definitely. I think any big organization like that or franchise, when news like that gets across and in the media, they can't have a guy doing these alleged things and then go to the playoffs. They don't want that. That's bad publicity.
But here's the thing, though. Snyder did this.
Not the
Terry McLaurin had nothing to do with it. Taylor Heinicke had nothing to do with it. None of those guys on that coaching staff had anything to do with what Daniel Snyder did. How do you punish the other? You got that one guy that you've had investigations going on for countless years that Roger Goodell has tried to sweep under the carpet and not punish him. But now, possibly you could be punishing that team by doing that. Why? How is that fair?
Let's let me say, anything I say is going to be obviously biased.
He doesn't like Washington. But yeah, you gotta look at this. Okay, Matthew. Let's say this was your team. Let's say this was the Giants. Your owner had done some stuff like Snyder done, and you're playing against the Commanders, and the Commanders, the shoes on. I'll put it this way: the shoes on the other foot. We don't have to go through all that. The shoes on the other foot. It happens to the Giants the way it happened to Commanders. How do you feel?
I'd be pissed off. I'd be pissed.
Yeah. Do you feel like? Would you feel like that it was fair if the NFL, if the referees were doing this, it was fair that they were punishing that team for what the owner did?
No, it's not fair.
Okay, it's not. It's
No, it's
not.
not.
And I mean, I'm saying, but I am saying that's a possibility. Stranger things have happened.
Definitely. Yes.
And you look at it too. Another thing that you got to think about in the NFL now with these referees, the gambling. You publish that they are promoting betting on games, betting on this, betting on that so much. How do you know with some of these referees that somebody doesn't get one of these referees? It happened in the NBA years back. How do you know that somebody won't get to one of these referees?
I mean, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah. These referees are part-time referees.
Yeah.
If they lose their job as a referee, they're not hurt. They're not hurt. I mean, they'll go back. They've still got their full-time job. So you're either going to have to make, if they're going to keep promoting the gambling thing, you're either going to have to make, the NFL is going to have to do full-time referees, that this is their full-time job, or somehow, some way, you're going to have to make these referees accountable for bad call. And I've been saying this for years, even before this year. Referees should be graded just like NFL players. There's a reason. Yeah. My daughter, we were watching a game the other night, and my daughter was asking me why the NFL referees have numbers on their back. And I was like, well, that's to identify. I'm assuming that's to identify which one was which. You need to get the referee's number. If he makes a bad call, it needs to go against him. I mean, and I know they do that. You know, the best referees get to referee the Super Bowl. They get to referee the playoffs. I know they do that, but there needs to be a grading system on these referees, and they need to be held accountable for stuff like this, because it's going to get worse in the future, I believe.
Okay, let's say after this game, this referee goes back in his office or wherever. Who could question him about that? Like,
Well, they've got like a officiating director, and you've got a head referee for each crew. Yeah. And when he was asked about it, first thing he was asked about the pass interference, he said that was a judgment call, and obviously our referees didn't think it was a pass interference. And then when he was asked about the whole thing with Terry McLaurin, he said, well, that referee could have been doing a lot of things. He could have been counting the players on the line. Well, that if you're a line judge like that, I'm assuming since they call you a line judge, one of your main responsibilities is make sure there's enough players on the line of scrimmage.
Yeah.
Before you start doing anything else. And I mean, of course he's going to take up for his staff. He's not going to badmouth them in public, I don't think. So, whatever. But yeah, I mean, that's something that, listening to that Mike Fiara, who does a great job. If you guys want to listen to some good, and I think he comes on every Monday through Friday. It's the PFT Pro Football Talk podcast. He does a great job. But yeah, I mean, and Robert's asking, we appreciate Robert's comments. Robert's a loyal listener. Did the refs get reprimanded for getting Brady's autograph? I didn't hear about the refs. I did hear about one of the 49ers defensive backs a couple weeks ago that intercepted the ball. He kept the ball that he intercepted, and after the game, asked Brady to sign it. Brady signed it for him too. The thing I think you're talking about, Robert, I may be wrong because I'm not saying I didn't see about refs asking. There was some refs talking to Mike Evans from Tampa Bay after a game, and they come out and said that wasn't an autograph. That was about something else. I want to say it was golf lessons or something like that. I don't know. I think it sounded like a bunch of BS to me, but anyway. So we've talked about the Giants. Let's talk about. All right, we'll get to that in a minute. Let's talk about one of the hottest teams in the NFL right now. And me and you have talked about this team before, and it seemed like we were scared we were going to give them the kiss of death, but evidently, us talking them up has worked wonders for them. I'm talking about the Detroit Lions.
Yeah.
You start off losing 6 of your first 7, and now they've won 6 of their last 7. They're now at 7-7, and they're right in the middle of a playoff hunt. I don't think they've got a chance to win the NFC North, but that playoff hope, and I'm gonna tell you, the playoff thing, and I sound like Jim Moore playoffs. The playoff thing is he could pick off either the Commanders or the Giants if they want to make the playoffs, because that's who's ahead of them now. And I know Matthew's like, oh, they ain't gonna get my Giants, but yeah, the Lions. I mean, we were talking about that offense, how good that offense is. If the defense could just catch up, and apparently the defense has caught up. They've had some big wins. I mean, the big win over Minnesota. Who did they beat this past week? The Jets. Beat the Jets. And I'm pulling up their schedule now. I want to see who they've got left. So they got Chicago on the last game of the year, which is a winnable game for them.
Yeah.
Why can't I see their schedule? Here we go. Let's see. They beat the Bears one time already. So here's how their streak has been. They beat Jacksonville, beat the mess out of Jacksonville, beat the Vikings, beat the Jets. Now they've got the Panthers.
That's winnable.
Yeah, that's a winnable game. They could very easily end up 10-7. They've got the Panthers, then the Bears, and they finish up with Green Bay. Now they play at Carolina. All 3 of those games are winnable for Detroit. I want to say they beat the Bears, and then they beat let me see. Let me go back and look and see if they beat. I know they beat the Packers once already.
Yeah, and they beat the Bears.
Bears are horrible.
Yeah.
And here's another. I want to talk about this too. It hit me the other night when they were talking about. It came up that Fields was one of 3 quarterbacks. Yeah, they beat the Bears the first game, 31-0. Fields was one of 3 quarterbacks out there that in the last, I don't know how many years, that had over 1,000 yards rushing. But yet you're not hearing about him like you are Lamar Jackson. And Lamar Jackson was one of those guys. So, he's out right now with that injury. Yeah, I don't think Fields is getting, as much as we talked about how he struggled the first part of the year, he's done pretty good the last part of the year.
And I said it then, I still say it now. That downfall they had, or where they just looked terrible, Justin Fields, I don't think that was his fault.
Well, no, I don't. Yeah,
not 100%.
I'll tell you what, though, the Lions, I do like their coach. I like Dan Campbell.
Yeah,
he seems like it would be somebody that I'd want to play for. He gets fired up. He's emotional. It seems like I'd like to play for him. I'm looking at his stuff now. He was a former player. Guess what? He played for the Giants. Played for the Giants from 99 to 2002. He was what was his position? He was selected by the New York Giants in the third round of the 1999 draft. Started 4 games, and team that appeared in the Super Bowl that year, which y'all got tore up by the Ravens that year. He was a tight end. So yeah, I like him. I think and it's funny how this streak for them started because they were 1-7 or 1-6, I think. And the streak started when I guess the owner was questioning them, and Campbell and the offensive coordinator went to him and said, "Look, just give us some more time. We've got this. This is going to work." And the referee, you got me messing up now. The owner gave him the vote of confidence, and after that, this is when the streak has started. Jared Goff is playing his butt off. They've got some good wide receivers. The defense is starting to catch up, and they're finding ways to win games, and that makes a team dangerous. Even if they don't make the playoffs, this has been a big success for the Lions right now. But I think I'm just listen to Campbell talk. I don't think they'll be satisfied unless they make the playoffs. But they are definitely on fire right now.
Definitely. And next year?
Yeah. I just hope, they can build off that. I can hope this will be a team that can come back around because, I'm a Steelers fan, yeah, but I like other teams too. I like seeing a story like this with Detroit. They deserve it. They've struggled since Barry Sanders left, and yeah, and they've had a lot of struggles before Barry Sanders got there, and then after Barry Sanders left. So it's nice to see them get some success. All right, Tampa Bay Buccaneers, the GOAT, Tom Brady. I don't know if you watched this game, but I sat there the first half. I got home from work, and another game ended. And we'll talk about that in a minute too. I got home just in time to see the last play of one game, and we know which game I'm talking about. But the Bengals and the Buccaneers at Tampa, and I look up, and the Bengals are like, I think one time it was late in the second half, the Bengals had run 13 plays. No, 14 plays. The Bengals had run 14 plays. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers had 13 first downs.
You mean consecutively?
No, altogether in the first half.
Oh, altogether.
They had run 14 plays. Their offense was on the field for 14 plays. And Tampa Bay had got 13 first downs. So that was a dominant first half for Tampa Bay. And it was 17-3 at the half. And then, as much as you guys out there that we talked about a couple weeks ago with the whole comeback for the Saints in the Saints game where Brady was down 16-3, came back and won 17-16. As much as you guys wanted to say Brady's back, no, Brady's there. He's not Brady-esque. I'll put it that way. Time is catching up with Brady, and Tampa Bay sucks. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Tampa Bay is not a good football team, no matter what. Joey Cool is clutch. Icing Mark Vick. I know you're talking about Joe Burrow. And yes, I am a Steelers fan, but I do like Joe Burrow, and he's a Bengals quarterback. I do like Joe Burrow. Yeah, I agree. And Robert's chiming in when Brady doesn't have 14 seconds to throw the ball, he's a subpar quarterback. The The second half was just a disaster. We talked about a tale of two halves with the Vikings and the Colts. This was not as bad as the Colts, but it was pretty bad. I mean, 31 points in the second half for the Bengals. Hello, Miss Kate. Marcus is here. How are you? So,
Thanks for joining.
yeah, Matthew says hello to you too, Kate. But yeah, 31 points in the second half. They outscored 31-6. The Bengals, and I've said this the last couple of weeks, the Bengals are catching fire. They get a lot of their weapons back. And Joe Burrow, it seems to be, catching fire at the right time. You may see, and I didn't want to say that, Chase is back from the hip, seems to be okay now. I hate to say it, but you better watch out for the Bengals. This could be another trip to the Super Bowl for the Bengals.
I don't think
Bengals, so. That second half, and I mean, pretty much the 6 points in the second half for the Buccaneers was garbage in the end of the game. They had a garbage touchdown that Brady threw. I mean, the Bengals were in total control. It was 34-17 at the time. They were total control. Brady was so frustrated. And so out of turnovers, why, when you're up 17-6, I believe, why does Tampa Bay try a fake punt? You do not do that. Trying to, Todd Bowles trying to be cute, and it backfired on him. And that it was a snowball. It just got bigger and bigger, and Tampa Bay was out of it. Tampa Bay, but the bad thing about it is Tampa Bay is sitting there at 6-8, and they're still in first place in the NFC South. All the other teams are sitting behind the other three: New Orleans, Carolina, Atlanta, all sitting one game behind at 5-9. The worst conference in the NFL this year by far.
Definitely. Stevie, speaking of the greediest of all time, greatest of all time.
Greediest?
Tom Brady. I meant to say greatest. When was the last time he put, other than the Bengals game and the Saints game, when was the last time the GOAT put up over 17 points this season?
I
don't remember it. All I remember is 3 points. That's not him.
Well,
maybe
I
10.
I know the first game against Dallas, I know they had 17 points. That's a good question. Let me look at their schedule right quick.
You counting on one hand.
Well, they did put up. All right, you said Cincinnati game. You're right. They did put up.
Cincinnati Saints, Dallas.
And they just did get that at the end.
Yeah.
Let's see. Monday Night Football game. Who's put? All right, 19 against Dallas, 20 against the Saints, 12 against Green Bay. They had 31 against Kansas City.
Okay.
21 against Atlanta, 18 against Pittsburgh, 3 against Carolina, 22 against the Ravens, 16 against the Rams, 21 against Seahawks, 17 against Cleveland, 17 against the Saints, 7 against 49ers, 23 against the Bengals. So.
Oh, okay. I'll take that back then. All
right. Hold on a second. Mark Vick is making a comment here. I always try to keep up with Mark. He's a part owner of the Green Bay Packers. Oh, he's talking about the I thought you were talking about this week. Yeah. You know what, Mark? Your boys pulled one out, and and like they said, it's still a chance. But honestly, if I'm giving them a chance to make the playoffs, the Green Bay to make the playoffs, it's like a 25-30% chance to make playoffs. They beat the Rams. They beat Baker Mayfield, and probably probably the best thing for the Rams to have done was not showing Baker Mayfield a playbook. He probably would have played better than he. So, I mean, Robert is talking about the Panthers game. He noticed terrible towels were everywhere, especially at field level. Robert, Pittsburgh fans always travel well, and there's a lot of Steelers fans are everywhere. I don't know if you remember a few years back. Gosh, I want to say it was a year. It was a year Ben was out with his elbow. They went to San Diego, or it just become Los Angeles Chargers, and there was I bet it was 80-20 Pittsburgh fans, 80% Pittsburgh fans at Los Angeles. I mean, this is across the country. There was 80% Steelers fans. It was like a Steelers home game there. Even the announcers kept talking about it.
I got a question for Mark. I was talking about this for a guy with a guy at work. He's a Packers fan. And I asked him, I said, how many more years would you give Aaron Rodgers to play quarterback for Green Bay?
Oh.
And he said until he retires. Mark, what do you think?
Yeah, you're pouring on him, Mark. You're pouring on the Packers.
Yeah, would you go ahead and get another quarterback, or would you let him finish out since he's
Do you let Jordan Love come in, or do you stick with your guy? Do you guys? Okay, let's say, does Green Bay after this year do what they did with Brett Favre?
Yeah.
Or do you let Love come in, get rid of Rodgers, or do you keep Rodgers around till he's ready to retire?
Unless y'all play Chicago, he owns them anyway. So
yeah.
Chicago.
Yeah. Mark did make the comment before we asked him that question, hoping for a Christmas miracle this week. So we'll see about that. I'll let you know what Mark says.
All right.
Moving on. Patriots Raiders game. I heard, I saw the score 17-3 one time, Raiders, and the announcer even said that may not be a good thing for you Raiders fans. You with all the blown leads the Raiders have had over this season, and it turned out he was right. They blew it. They had to come back. Now here's another thing that a lot of people, everybody was so focused on that bonehead play at the end. But, everybody knows I'm not a New England fan. But I try to call it like it is. And if you look, the play that tied it up, that Cole made, they reviewed this play and still got it wrong. Cole, and from different angles, it may have looked like he got that both feet in. If you look, they had an angle from overhead, and it's like you can tell his foot, the second foot was not in bounds. So that should have never counted. That's another play. And, here's my thing with the NFL. You've got all these different cameras everywhere.
Yeah.
How do you miss something like that? When every scoring play is reviewed. And okay, that's one thing. Okay. Granted, referee missed the call, no doubt about it. Move on. Tied up. So you're a New England Patriot player on offense. You are tied up. You're not behind. Stevenson, the running back for New England, runs the ball. He laterals it back to Jakobi Meyers. Jakobi Meyers, and I know you're trying to do this whole thing. You're waiting for this big play. If it's in doubt when you're tied up, you don't do this. No. He throws the ball across the field. Chandler Jones from the Raiders picks it off and just wallops over Mac Jones. and goes for the touchdown to win the game. I'm like, how do you make this bonehead play? It's what this is the kind of play you expect a team like the Raiders to do. But the Patriots with Bill Belichick, you don't expect that from a New England team.
No.
And you even hear the announcers for the New England announcers talk about that this is a dumb team. There's talk, and it's just talk right now. It's just stuff, and I'm hearing that today. Is this possibly the last hurrah for Bill Belichick in New England? Would it? And one of the things talked about was, a team like the Carolina Panthers. If they came, just hypothetically, if they came to Robert Kraft, the owner of the Patriots, and said, what would it take to get Bill Belichick in Carolina? And one of the insiders said, in that situation, he would be more willing to listen than he had in years past. And that right there tells you a lot. This team has not been, granted, you don't have Brady, but this team has not shown like that same, how do I say it, fundamental, smart football that a Bill Belichick team usually shows. And, that's what makes me think that this could happen. You could see Bill Belichick. I don't know if he'll go anywhere else. I don't know if when he leaves New England, he might just retire. But yeah, I think it's a possibility. They don't make the playoffs. You could see, and I don't think they'll make the playoffs. You could see Belichick, because you went from, with that stupid play Jacoby Myers made, he went from in the thick of the playoff hunt to on the outside looking in, just in one fatal throw, bonehead move. So, I wouldn't doubt it. I would not be surprised at all.
How long has Belichick been with New England?
Oh, geez, dude.
He's been there since I remember.
Early 2000, because, early 2000, maybe even before that.
At least 20 years.
Yeah, it's been at least 20 years. And, you can't take away what he's done there. He's done, right, but 23 years, Mark Vick said. All right, Mark's comment back from your question was he said, I am terrified that Jordan Love is a great quarterback and will be let walk, mess around with Aaron. I think he might have 2 decent years left in him, but hoping for much more than that is unrealistic. I will say he looked more like himself last night than he did the rest of the year. So
I agree. Yeah, I agree there.
Another thing you got to think about too with Rodgers, and I don't dislike Aaron Rodgers, but I think his attitude sometimes is crappy.
Yeah.
But another thing you got to realize with it, he's dealing with a receiving core that is younger than probably any receiving core he's had in Green Bay. He's always had veteran receivers. And I know they got Cobb. I know they just let Sammy Watkins go. But this receiving core is starting to come around. Christian Watson is had a big second half of the year, and I think he's going to be a stud. I really do. I think that was a great pickup by the Packers. I was hoping somehow he would fall in the second round, and like Pittsburgh need another receiver. But that speed, you can't teach speed. You can't teach speed, and that boy's got it. And the drop at the first of the year, the first play of the year when he dropped that touchdown, he's overcame all that. He's worked hard to get back out of the doghouse with Aaron Rodgers, and he's had a great second half of the season. But yeah, we'll see. Yeah, I did see it because Mark is asking if we saw Jordan Love those last few series against the Eagles. I did see that. And that's when all the talk started about, should the Packers just let Rodgers go. And as if I was a Packers fan, I would feel the same way you do, Mark. I mean,
Me too.
if he's sitting there, you got a guy sitting on the sideline that could be a great quarterback, and we're still loyal. But guess what? You did the same thing, however many years ago it was with Favre. You did the same thing then, and it turned out pretty good for you guys. So maybe it'll turn. You guys have been really lucky with quarterbacks. Not a lot of teams get that lucky with quarterbacks. Going from a Favre to a Aaron Rodgers. Not a lot of people do that. 2 Hall of Fame quarterbacks right there. But yeah, they bench Favre, but come on, look at what Favre did when he got to Minnesota. I mean, that was. I honestly think the benching of Favre was more. It wasn't play. I think it was more disagreeing. People disagreeing with each other. I think that was a little. It may have been a little spat between certain people and Favre. I think that was why. And it might have been McCarthy. I don't know. But McCarthy didn't get along with Rodgers either. But Rodgers ran. I don't care what anybody said. Rodgers ran McCarthy out of town, and it probably was a good thing. I mean, granted, McCarthy got the Super Bowl while he was at Green Bay, but
I don't see. Got fat and lazy.
I don't see McCarthy as a. I don't know how to say it. He might be a good coach, but I don't think he can get the best out of the players, and he's showing that in Dallas right now. Speaking of Dallas, Robert saying Favre's Viking jersey always looked a size too big. It just didn't look right. I mean, we talked about this. I mean, you look at some of it just didn't look right with Favre being in anything but that Green Bay color. I mean, you had, just like with me as a Steeler fan, I remember Franco Harris left Pittsburgh and went to Seattle. And I watched, back then, you didn't have anything like ESPN, or at least around me. So I think 1 week, the Redskins, which all we got to really see back then were Redskins games. The Redskins were playing the Seahawks, and I look up, and there's Franco Harris wearing 32 in Seattle colors, and I'm like, this looks stupid. And I mean, look at it. Talking about the Redskins, a guy like Art Monk, he plays for the Eagles. You think that looked good? I mean, that just looked freaky. But yeah, it just, no other jersey but a Green Bay jersey fit for him. And no pun intended. But
that Wranglers.
Huh? Wranglers. Oh yeah. Yeah, Wranglers fit him pretty good.
Yeah.
But what do we got? Breaking news. Oh no, nothing. Cowboys. And I don't know if Eric Sawyer's out there. I don't know if any of the Cowboy fans right there listening.
Are there any Cowboy fans this week?
They're mighty quiet, ain't they, bud?
Yeah,
mighty quiet. First of all, let's go back to last week. I do. Eric Sawyer pipes in. I'm watching. Let's go back to last week. I do the other podcast on the fly, and my co-host there, he's from Texas, and he's a Cowboys fan. He went to the Cowboys game, and I told him when he told me he was going, I said, if y'all lose to the Texans, you're a jinx. And I felt bad after, when I looked up and saw that Houston was leading a lot of the game. I was like, holy crap, if they lose, he's going to hurt his feelings. The Cowboys barely pull out. And, looking now, the Texans took the Chiefs to overtime. So not so bad. All you Cowboy fans out there, and most of you, the ones that aren't wearing the dark glasses, the Cowboy, the star sunglasses, and drinking the Kool-Aid Jerry Jones puts out, have all said that December will be the telltale sign. And let me tell you guys, If that's the case, then you guys won't go far in the playoffs. You backed into the playoffs the other day. By the Commanders losing, they clinched the playoff spot. So the Jaguars, you're up 27-10. You don't know how to finish a game, and yeah, you've had some injuries and stuff. But let me tell you this: your quarterback, and I wanted to give him the benefit of the doubt a lot of times. Your quarterback is you paid too much for that guy, for Dak.
Yeah.
He is not going to be the quarterback to take you to a Super Bowl. And as much as Jerry wants to crawl up his butt and wants Dak to be the one, Dak is not going to be the answer. It's going to be the same old every time. And I walked in from work. I turned the TV on in my office, turned the game on, and as soon as I turned it on, that last interception that the Jaguars took back for a touchdown in overtime to win the game. And I will give Dak credit. That was not Dak's fault. That was the receiver's fault. I think it was, what was his name? Noah Brown. He had the ball in his hands, but there's other parts of that game you go back and look at, and Dak. And my thing is, in the Houston game, why do you wait till the last possession of the game to start for your offense side to start playing ball? They should have lost the Houston game. Houston held them on a goal line stand. Houston had the ball first and goal and could have clinched the win with a touchdown. Dallas's defense stepped up. I'll give Dallas' defense credit. And your offense is explosive at times, but not consistent. It's mediocre most times.
Not good enough for the playoffs.
Not good enough. Not good enough to win a Super Bowl right now. And things could change maybe in the next 2 weeks. I know you guys are hoping, and let me tell you something, and people will – this is another team we've talked about, Matthew, the Jaguars. We've talked about the Jaguars being on the verge. They're missing something. But, Trevor Lawrence, and I heard a Cowboys fan talking after the game. You got beat. And he's up there talking about this is probably the biggest win that woman will ever have at quarterback. I mean, okay, you just got beat you just said you got beat by a woman at quarterback, man. So
what does that say?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Oh, we just got spammed up here, boy. Wow. Somebody sex find info. Beautiful girls here. Okay.
All right. I'll keep you in mind.
Okay. Eric Sawyer is saying it right now. Trevor Lawrence is the next Tom Brady. I'm calling it. No. I'm saying, what's his name? Brock Purdy is the next Tom Brady at the 49ers. Forget Trey Lance. Forget Garoppolo. Brock Purdy. That name right there says it all. Eric also says, this is it from Eric now. Look at the coaching on last drive. We run ball first and second down. They forced them to use a timeout, but on third down, they passed the ball for an incompletion to stop the clock so Jags could save that last timeout. Bonehead call. I agree with you. Your coaching is not good. McCarthy he's not the answer either.
No,
you need McCarthy and Dak both out of town. But that's not going to happen. McCarthy might go, but Dak's not going anywhere because Jerry's in love with Dak. But, Jaguars are in position, believe it or not, the Jaguars are in position to make the playoffs, to win their division. All they've got to do is win out, and then they'll be playing the Titans the last game for the AFC South, and they're 6-8. What has happened to the Titans? I
don't know. For a while there, they were looking pretty good.
They were looking good, and now they're just like, what the heck? What is wrong with you guys? I mean, I'm just looking and just scanning over some of the games. Okay, Cleveland gets Baltimore 13-3, which you want to talk about bonehead coaching. And people are going to say, well, you're a Steelers fan. You're a little biased. And maybe I am, but if I was a Ravens fan, I'd be wanting John Harbaugh to go on the next trip out of town and take the offensive coordinator with him. You got guys running the ball. I mean, picking up 4 or 5 yards a clip. And you decide to start throwing the ball with your backup quarterback in a snowstorm. You threw the ball twice as much in the second half as you ran the ball. Bonehead move. Just scanning the games, like Bills get a big win over the Dolphins. That was another pass interference call that was not made that could have helped Miami tie or win the game. Saints get a win over the Falcons in that NFC South matchup, 21-18. Eagles over the Bears, 25-20. Jalen Hurts. Let's talk about this. Big news here. Jalen Hurts might be out, more than likely out this week in that big matchup with the Cowboys. They've clinched a playoff spot. What are they, 11-1 now, or what are they?
12.
Maybe they're 12-1.
12.
Yeah, they're probably 12-1 because they got 3 more games. So you're playing the Cowboys, who have lost, 4? And okay, yeah, they're 13-1 now. You're playing the Cowboys, who are like 2 or 3 games behind you. Do you worry about starting Hurts this week, or do you let him rest? You're 3 games up on the Cowboys. I'll let him rest.
I mean, I think
Dallas,
so too.
If Dallas beats them, so what? I mean,
exactly. They're not going to lose nothing from it.
I mean, you'll be 2 games, still be 2 games ahead of them. The playoffs are more important than that regular season game, and you still got a 2-game lead in the division. So, I mean, I wouldn't worry about that. I rest him, let him get his strength back.
Yeah, because you're making the playoffs. Just let him rest this game. Let him come back strong.
Yeah, just one win. Just like Eric. Eric, as a Dallas fan, he said, if I was a Philly fan, I wouldn't start him. All they need is 1 game to win the division.
Yeah.
And, who they got? Gardner Minshew coming in as the backup, I think.
I don't even know who that is.
Oh, Gardner Minshew? You don't remember him? Jacksonville?
No.
Gardner Magic? Minshew Magic. That's what it was. But when they drafted Trevor Lawrence, he became expendable real quick. He actually played a few years in college at East Carolina, and then he went to Washington State. He finished his career at Washington State. Yeah, I mean, no, I don't. I don't start him. Then we had, let's see, the Chiefs took to overtime by the Texans. What is up with the Texans? Texans just can't get over the hump. Can't win. Who cares? Game of the week. The Cardinals lose to the Broncos 24-15. The Titans lose to the Chargers. Watch out for the Chargers. Looks like the Chargers are finally playing like the team I thought they could be. They're letting Herbert do some things now. They're letting him throw down the field. Yeah, watch out for the Chargers. There's a lot of teams you need to watch out for right now that are up and coming that aren't the ones that are sitting at the top right now. The ones sitting at the top need to be watching some of these teams coming from that aren't hitting their prime at the right time, getting on a hot streak at the right time. Because I always say, it doesn't matter how you start. It matters how you finish. As long as you don't get too far behind. So, and then, my Steelers get the win over the Panthers 24-16. And we talked about that a little bit. Trubisky had a good game, managed game. Looks like Kenny Pickett will be back against the Raiders Christmas Eve night, 8:15. I know all you guys will be tuning in. Even if you're not a Steelers fan, you'll be tuning in for that game. It means so much.
Right.
So,
right.
I'm going to rank my top 5 now. I don't know if you got your top 5 ranked. Start at the bottom. At number 5, I got the Chiefs.
Yeah.
Number 4, 49ers. Number 3, the Bengals. Number 2, the Bills. And number 1, the Eagles.
So Dallas ain't even on the list. Last week
No,
it was.
no. They're not better than any of those 5 teams.
A couple weeks ago, they were on your top 5, right?
Yeah, but they barely beat Houston,
Yeah.
and they lost to Jacksonville. They're playing like Dallas does in December right now.
Yeah.
Michael Harrell, since I am a Pittsburgh fan, who is the next Franco Harris? I don't know if you'll ever see another Franco Harris, bud.
Rudolph.
Who?
Rudolph.
Mason Rudolph? He's a quarterback. Yeah. Franco Harris was a running back.
Oh! You said Franco Harris.
That showed. Yeah, you're not old enough to remember.
Yeah,
you're not old enough to remember Franco Harris. He was like, yeah. I don't know if you ever see another Franco. I mean, we've had some good running backs. We've had, we had Le'Veon, which he flaked out, but I don't know. I would love to see Najee be that way, but Najee's got to get a line in front of him, and Najee's got to stay healthy. Najee could be a really good. Well, yeah. Bettis was different than Franco, though, to me. Bettis was bigger and quicker than Franco. I mean, if you're looking at a Franco, A.J. Dillon ran like Franco last night. Yeah. They always used to make me mad when I was a kid. Talking about Franco was scared of contact. They said Franco always ran out of bounds. But Franco was smart. I mean, if Franco saw there was 2 guys coming to him, he'd hit the side. He would hit the sidelines. It may have saved him a few years of his career. So who do you got in your top 5, Matthew?
Number 5, I got the Chiefs.
Mm-hmm.
And they're lucky to be on that. Number 4, I got the Bengals.
Okay.
Number 3, I got San Francisco.
Okay.
Number 2, I got the Bills.
Uh-huh.
Number 1, I got Philly.
Cool. Yeah, I love the bus, Eric. Don't get me wrong. Bettis is probably one of my top 5 Steelers of all time. I remember when they pulled off that draft day trade for him with the Rams. I was like, that's a perfect fit. We're going to have something with him, and he did not disappoint me. So let's get to our picks for next week. And look, we have talked about this, and guys, y'all are listening out there. You want to win a shirt? Want to win a shirt like what I'm wearing right here? Get your picks in for this week. This is week 16. Whoever has the best picks, and you can go ahead and email them to me, or you can send them to me on Facebook, text me, whatever. If you got my text number, get your week 16 picks in. And whoever has the best pick, you'll get a Final Score T-shirt, courtesy of Matthew Bazemore. So,
if you got a football sheet, just take a picture of it and send it.
Yeah, just I mean, it's not hard. You ain't got to figure it out. Just get your sheet. If you got a sheet, take a picture, send it to me. And you can reach me on Facebook, or you can reach me. Sound off? Who's sound off? Can you hear me, Eric? You can hear me, can't you, Matthew?
Can you hear me?
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay. Eric is saying sound off. But yeah, give me, send it to me on Facebook or the Final Score 7399 at gmail.com. Send it there. Like I said, take a picture of it. Take a picture of it, send it in, and you could be eligible to win one of these shirts. That's all it takes.
I said every time, if you want your wife to love you again, get you a T-shirt. Easy.
Get you a Final Score T-shirt.
That's right.
All right, let's start it off. Thursday night game. Big game here. Jaguars and the Jets. Who would have thought that would be a big game?
Yeah.
Playoff implications. Who you got?
Going for the Jets.
Oh, really?
Yep. I think
the Jaguars. I would probably say it would be a better game because I am a huge Mike White fan. And Mike White, I don't think he's going to be able to play because of that broke rib. They're waiting for it. They're saying he went to – this guy is old school. I'm telling you, this guy's old school. He went to 10 different doctors hoping that one doctor would tell him that he could play. And all 10 said he couldn't because that rib has got to calcify, get hard. So, no. Mike White, Zach Wilson in. I'm going with the Jaguars. Jaguars on fire. I think Jaguars are going to win.
Okay.
All right. Starting off on Saturday, Saints and the Browns. I got the Saints.
I got the Saints.
Okay.
Just can't depend on the Browns.
No, and they looked okay the other night, but the Ravens, yeah. Ravens and Falcons. I got the Ravens, as bad as I hate to do it.
Ravens.
Yeah.
Ravens.
Bengals and Patriots.
Bengals.
Yes, I got the Bengals. Bills and Bears. I know you.
Bills.
Lions and Panthers. And Tigers and Bears. Oh my.
Lions.
Giants and Vikings. Ooh, let's hear this one.
I got the Giants winning 42-7. What's so funny?
I got the Vikings winning this one.
Yeah, I got the Giants because I got to stick with them. You know.
I know, bud. I know.
We can get them because.
Yeah, it's possible. It's
Dallas
possible.
blew them out. We can too. Why not?
That's right. Chiefs and Seahawks.
Chiefs. You know.
You had to think about that, didn't you?
No, I don't know. The talk of Patrick Mahomes is good. Don't get me wrong, but I don't know. Chiefs is just they're barely winning.
Well, they're doing what they got to do to win, though.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
We'll see. We'll see how it comes playoff time. Titans and Texans.
This should be interesting, but I think the Titans gonna pull it out.
You're gonna think I'm crazy.
Texans. You going Texans?
I'm picking the Texans. I think Titans. Something's wrong.
Think they fell
Something's
off.
wrong in Tennessee. And Texas.
Definitely.
Houston has been on the verge the last 2 weeks, so I'm gonna give them. I'll probably give them the kiss of death, the final score kiss of death, but they'll probably get blown out. But I'm gonna pick them. Eagles and Cowboys. Interesting week.
Eagles lead the whole NFL with stats all across the board. Dallas is just a little too sloppy right now. I'm going for Eagles.
Okay. I'm going Cowboys. If Hurts is out, I'm going Cowboys. I don't trust Minshew as the starter, and Eric's probably saying you done jinxed us. But yeah,
they're in Dallas, right?
I think they're in Dallas.
Yeah.
I'm picking Dallas to win.
It's gonna be a good game. At least it better be.
Yeah, I'll tell you what's going to have to happen for the Eagles to win. The Eagles going to have to run the ball.
Yeah, definitely.
And they're going to have to control the clock. And I mean, it's going to be a totally different game than the Eagles are usually play.
And put pressure on.
They can get in that defense. They can get pressure on Dak.
Oh yeah.
All right, Commanders and 49ers.
49ers.
I got the 49ers too. Steelers and Raiders.
I don't know. Can I circle or?
Come on now.
I'm going for the Raiders.
Good.
Yeah.
I'm sticking with my boys. Bucks and Cardinals.
Bucks.
Yeah, that's who I got. Packers and Dolphins. Woo. It's a tough.
It is a tough one, but I think the Packers might get it.
Yeah, I got the Packers.
Yeah.
Broncos and Rams. I got the Rams.
That's gonna be a dry, like watching paint dry. I already know. Like,
who cares? Every game.
Yeah.
I'm sorry to all the people out there that are Broncos fan, Dalton Van, Henry Ford, whoever's listening. But every Denver game this year is like watching paint dry. So I don't care who they play.
So I can't go for Broncos.
No, I don't either.
Yeah.
I'm going with the Rams. Chargers and the Colts.
I think the Chargers. I mean, unless the Colts get up 33-0. I mean, if they get that.
Oh, if they get up 33-0, I'll be more worried about it then.
If they get 33-0, the Chargers are going to win. So.
Yep, I think so too. I got the Chargers on that too. So, It's Christmas week, and we all hope you guys have a Merry Christmas. Eric Sawyer, I know you want your boys to win on Christmas, pull off the Christmas miracle, and actually win Cowboys actually win a game in December. That would be the Christmas miracle. Um, but what is something that you want for Christmas, Matthew? You want to have sports wise, and I mean I know what the answer is to this.
Sports wise, all I'm asking for is the Giants to win the Super Bowl.
The Christmas miracle.
See, you told me you want to say that before we got on air, so I'll let you have it.
The Christmas, no, the bigger Christmas miracle would be Steelers win the Super Bowl this year.
Well, yeah, I mean,
I just, as a Steelers fan, Eric said that's all I want for Christmas is to beat Philadelphia. I hate Philly.
Yeah.
Okay. Michael Harrell, Merry Christmas, Happy New Year to you. As a Steelers fan, though, I just want to see improvement.
Yeah,
we're young, and that's the thing. We just got to get better every week, and we are. I mean, we've won more games this year than I thought we would. Robert Matthews has said he's a Red Sox fan. I want the Red Sox to stop giving away all of their players. So yeah, you got to fork out some of that money, buddy.
And let me be a little more realistic. I just want the Giants to make the playoffs.
Right.
I don't think they're gonna go far, but if you make the playoffs, I'll be happy.
Right. Oh, if we're going to talk about baseball, Matthew, he's a Red Sox fan. Your Yankees are spending some money now.
Yeah, they are, but they can. No salary cap.
With the Yankees, they figure we've had a couple of years where we've let some people. We haven't rated everybody else as all-stars, so now we're gonna just start using the rest of the MLB as our farm league and get the all-stars that are free agents.
Yeah, whatever.
I have to say this: we brought up baseball, and a past guest of the show on the Final Score, we did an interview with Chris Bassett. You know who I'm talking about, Matthew?
Yeah.
He left. I want to say he's gone, and I'm looking now. He's not a Met. He spent this past year with the Mets after a long time with the Oakland A's. Now he has become a member of the Toronto Blue Jays. So he's got some North Carolina ties here. So I'll be looking a little extra with the Blue Jays. Michael Harrell says the Christmas miracle was Giants beating Patriots in the Super Bowl. But you know what, Michael? I'll say this.
It happened though.
I was just as happy with that Christmas miracle as I would have been with the Steelers winning the Super Bowl. As long as they ended that perfect season that year, I was fine with it. Both times they beat them. I would have wore Eli Manning jersey that night.
Oh, they're still selling them. They're still selling them.
I said that night. I didn't say now.
Well.
Robert saying that the Red Sox stupid owner gets one flying you know what about winning. So, okay.
Wow.
I know that. I'm a Baltimore
Yankees care
fan.
About is
spending
all the
money.
Yankees care about is making headlines for the most part. I'm a Yankees fan.
Yeah. All right, so just want to tell you guys, Merry Christmas. Christmas is, Matthew, it's 5 days away, not 2. It's 5 days.
2? You sure it ain't 2?
5 days away. You still got some time.
It's going to feel like 2.
You still got some time to go out there and buy you a Steelers jersey for Christmas.
Oh, no. Hey, well, you might as well say it's 1,000 days away then.
You guys, want to tell you guys how much I appreciate. Me and Matthew both appreciate you guys coming in. And Michael, Eric, Robert, Mark, Kate. Yes, Kate, I'm mentioning you. And even the little spam that came in here, I guess. I've never seen that happen before. But yeah, we appreciate you guys coming in. We appreciate all you guys that listened all through the year. And next year we're gonna have some more stuff. We're gonna try to get you guys involved bring some people on. Our goal is we're gonna have some top 10 lists, because the NFL offseason is gonna be here for a long. And we really talk a lot of NFL, but we're gonna have some top 10 lists coming, and we're gonna have some of you guys involved with that. And if you guys want to come on the show, do your top 10 list for your favorite team or a team that you know a lot about, not necessarily pull for, but you think you know a lot about. Feel free to message us and let us know. Remember, get those picks in. You can win that T-shirt. Get the picks in to me. But yeah, you guys have a Merry Christmas, and hopefully we'll be on next week anyway. We'll be talking about what happened this past weekend. Hopefully we can get our schedule right. After this week, my schedule should open up a lot, hopefully. Oh Lord, Eric, this is Eric is saying, how about them Cowboys? We them boys. I need to be a special guest.
Where's that spam at? Where's that spam thing at? I better see that over there. I love you, Eric. I love you, man. You know that.
Anyway, Matthew, appreciate you, buddy. I hope you have a Merry Christmas, and hopefully get to see you next week.
Oh yeah, if you need me, I'll do my best to be here.
Well, we'll try it. I know we're getting around at Christmas. It's kind of tough, but we'll try to get our schedules right. But you guys, Merry Christmas. Have a great time watching some football, eating food, being with your family. That's what it's all about.
Oh yeah.
Have a Merry Christmas, and we'll see you next week on the Final Score.